Hello and welcome everybody to the DCM open house. This is the first time ever we're doing such a thing, so nice to see how it goes. The idea is to give you a demo of our product, tell you what it's all about, and then reserve some time in the end to answer any questions. And since we are from Finland and usually quite punctual, we will start right away. So let's get to it. The agenda, as mentioned, I will start with a quick introduction of the Data Content Manager application, and then followed by a live demo, and in the end we'll have a Q&A. My name, by the way, is Mikko Juola. I am the product owner for Data Content Manager here at Qualdatrix. Qualdatrix is the name of the company, but we are mostly known for the DCM product. So in the end, there should be time for questions. If you have any during the session, you can put them into the Q&A in Teams. You can also use the chats just to say hello. But if you have like real questions, better put them in the Q&A. Okay, so let's start. What is DCM and how we came to create this product? So in ServiceNow, the main idea for our product is to improve data quality. And if you have bad data quality, then you also have a lot of expensive problems that are quite often hidden or maybe hard to notice. People just don't trust the reporting. Maybe they don't trust the CMDB. You cannot really automate everything you would like to. You can't utilize the AI. That's kind of hot topic now. And people are simply wasting time or using alternative data sources instead of taking the full advantage of this fantastic platform. We started already several years ago, and at that time there was no CSDM or much guidance on CMDB. And our background is in consulting, where we used to do a lot of CMDB implementations and help customers to define the data models and kind of create the process around configuration management and all that. So there was no tools really for maintaining data or taking care of the data quality, and that's how DCM came to exist. We wanted to introduce a systematic way to manage data on the platform and kind of cover all the data within the platform. And what this systematic process means is that we'll start with the design. We start by defining the requirements on a visual data model. So in DCM Blueprint Designer, you're creating data models for different use cases or different parts of the platform or different areas. Those visual data models can then be used in the audit. So the audit will compare the current data against the agreed data models. So the data models are not just pretty pictures or some documentation on a Visio diagram, but they are configuration in your ServiceNow, and when we can use them to run audits. The audits usually find some deviations. We have a couple of different tools for fixing the issues. One is called Content Planner, and that's a bit more of an expert tool. And the idea there is that you will have the data model in the background, and then you can maintain and fix the data on top of the model. When you keep running the audits on a regular basis, you will get all the reporting you need, and basically you're automating this data management process by providing the governance structures and the reporting to different personas so they can act and improve the quality. And then the last part here is the workspace, and that's another way to fix the data, but it's more targeted for the kind of so-called business end users who might not be that familiar with ServiceNow or CMDB, but they have all the knowledge and information regarding the different records. So with the workspace, we can kind of engage more people and get them to participate in the data management activities. And in the demo today, I'm going to focus mainly on the design, audit, and the workspace parts. And if you're interested in kind of seeing more, then you can book a private demo later on. So about the design, common service data model is of course a big topic in the ServiceNow community. It's been like that for several years now, and we have used the model to create templates for different areas. So we have kind of read all the documentation and then split it up into different templates. So if you want to focus on business applications, for example, then you can pick a template for the business application and start from there. Or maybe if you focus on technical services or business services, then you use those templates. But the templates will kind of help you align with the model, but you can decide what's important and where you want to start. Of course, not forgetting the foundation data. So we do have a couple of templates for that area as well. And you can use DCM to model and manage any data, including foundation data and including any table you have in ServiceNow. Even if it's like an additional plugin or like a third-party tool, as long as the table is in ServiceNow, you can use DCM. But CSDM alignment is definitely like the #1 use case. Most of our customers start from here, start from the kind of business application and service layer, and then maybe extend to infrastructure and foundation data and so on. In the demo, I'm going to have different personas. So I'm starting with like a data architect role that will use the Blueprint Designer and define the requirements and responsibilities. And this guy or person can also run the audits and configure tasks if you want to use tasks. Another persona in the demo is a domain owner, and a domain owner would be responsible for one part of the platform or one part of the CMDB, like a business applications or server infrastructure or databases. And they will follow up the data quality on a high level regarding their own domain, and then support data providers. And by data provider, we mean the individuals who are responsible for their own records. For example, an application owner might be responsible for 10 to 5 different business applications, and they are the ones who actually create and update the records. So if we think about an example from the business application domain, then maybe the architect is the CMDB owner. He might be creating the blueprints, or you could have an enterprise architect or ServiceNow architect doing that, usually in collaboration with the domain owners. So they kind of define the requirements together. In this case, the domain owner could be an application portfolio owner or portfolio manager, and she would have the overall responsibility of the data quality, as said before. And then the different application owners, IT application owners, should take care of their own data. And in the demo now, I'm going to show how like all this works. So let's start with our demo environment here. So this is now the DCM homepage after you have installed our plugin, so you can find it from the navigation menu. This is the homepage, and then there's a lot of different modules for different personas. The different icons here indicate the different modules, and maybe I will quickly show you that in our next version, the homepage will look like this. So we're doing a bit of a facelift here, but the idea is that it's the landing page for different modules. And as said about the process, we will start with design. So I'm going to go to the Blueprint Designer and create a new blueprint. I can create the blueprint from scratch, starting with the blank canvas and defining the tables which I want to use. Or I can pick one of the templates. So if we look at technical services and application services, we see there's a bunch of CSDM4 templates available for that particular CI class. There are templates for servers and foundation data as well. But I'm going to use the business application template in this session, and let's start with CSDM crawl, and let's call this an open house demo. So I'll take the template as a starting point and then click create. And from the template, we get this business application here in the middle. That's the starting point for the model and starting point for the audit. Then according to CSDM, every business application should have an application service underneath with this consume CI relationship. Then you can have the SDLC component. That's an optional, but you can have it there as well. And then we've added some references to foundation data, basically to responsibilities. So we want to make sure that every application has an owner from the IT side and business side. Then we have support group and managed by group. And when you kind of use these templates, you can of course modify and kind of make it your own. So not too many companies use this SDLC component, so let's remove that and add something more. So let's say we want to connect our business applications to business units, maybe for some reporting purposes or like cost allocation, finance stuff. So I just drag the table to the canvas and then define a link between these two tables. So I'm connecting the business application to the business unit with this reference field. I can continue further if I want to. So I can say that every business unit should belong to a company. So that's a nice and easy way to expand the model. And I can kind of create links for these as well. So maybe the application service should have a managed by group as well. So I can easily put that in here as well. So you define the tables and then the relationships between the tables. And in addition to that, you can add other requirements or conditions to your model. And this IT application owner link is a very nice example, maybe my favorite. So it's a mandatory thing. Every application should have an owner. But in addition to that, on the advanced side, we can say that the user record needs to be an active user. And this is very powerful. So I can pretty much guarantee that every time we run an audit for the first time in production environments, we will find applications that belong to people who have already left the company. So that's good. And for every table or class in this model, we can also define field setups. And this field setup simply means a list of attributes with different conditions that we want to include into our audit or into this blueprint. And this is an example where it's dependent on other values. So you can make this more dynamic by saying that we only need this data classification if the business criticality is high, while the architecture type is required always. All right. So now I'm pretty much done with my blueprint. I want to publish it. So let's run a preview. And as part of this preview, I'm going to define data providers. I can use the IT application owner here, and it basically connects this data model to the responsible persons. And when we run an audit, we will also see that, or we will kind of connect the people to the results so that they can see their own results from the personalized dashboards. So let's publish. And then I'll show you one more thing. So on the metadata, we define that this blueprint belongs to the crawl phase. Then you can have descriptions. And we connect this blueprint to a data domain. And this data domain gives us like a reporting structure on top of our blueprints. And we can use that in reporting and escalating things and so on. So let's do that. Now we have a new blueprint ready. We can go and run an audit. The audit part is quite simple. You just run the audits on demand or by schedule. The on demand is mainly used for just validating the blueprint for the first time, making sure that it's done correctly, and then you can do initial analysis with it. In this case, I would have 145 business applications. I can change the scope before starting if I want to, but that's fine for now. So I will just click start and let it run in the background. I have already run this same audit before the demo, so all the results are ready, and we can go to the reporting part. So from the audit home, we can access the different dashboards, and I have the audit overview dashboard here ready. When the audits are running or when they're done, we can see all the results from this overview dashboard. And the target or the purpose of this dashboard is mainly to communicate with different stakeholders that what is the current state and how things have changed over time. So without any filtering, I see that my overall data compliance is only 90 or 49%. And then this trend will break it down based on different domains. So we have business applications and service offerings and all kinds of things mentioned there. If I scroll down, I see the data volumes that over the last 7 days, I've been auditing 9,000 records, and roughly half of them have critical issues. The other half has minor issues, and only like 10% are fully compliant with my blueprints. And then if I scroll further down, I see some problem areas. And now based on all the different blueprints I have active and running, I see that there are some like company contact issues and maybe users without companies and hardware without serial numbers. And these are kind of the top findings out of all my audits. But maybe it's more meaningful if I pick one of the domains. Let's take the business application. And now the trend line is showing my business application data. It has gone up nicely over the last week, currently at 83%, so already a decent result. I have 300 applications in my audits, and now roughly like 40% of them are compliant, and the other half has some issues. And now also the problem areas are focusing on my business application data. So I have another blueprint that is checking the new service instance CI relationship according to CSDM 5. And it looks like most of my records are missing that. Then there are some issues with group members and so on. But you see that based on the filtering already on the overview, we can get very concrete results that are easy to kind of discuss on a steering group and say that, okay, this is not good. Let's focus on these service instance CI relationships over the next month, and then let's see how we can improve. And when it comes to these different domains, now I'm changing hats. So I will switch to my data domain owner persona and look at my data domain dashboard. So it looks almost exactly the same, but the drill downs are more detailed. If I click these reports, it actually gives me a list of the records that were part of the audit and the more detailed results for each record, and also the kind of responsibility information. But otherwise, it's more or less the same. One big difference is shown at the bottom, where we have these data provider reports. And this is super handy information for the overall responsible person. If you think of me as a portfolio manager, now I can see that, okay, myself there on top of the list, but then also Chris and Mary and George, these are different application owners, and they still have some work to do regarding their business application data. Or maybe you've set up the responsibilities on a group level, and then I can see that the HR DevOps team or application management team has a lot of work to do. And to make it very concrete for them and for me too, I can use this information as a filter. So I can go here and say HR DevOps and then apply. And now the trend is specific to the applications that belong to the HR DevOps team. So are these data volumes and problem areas. So again, the same issue, but now for 19 records. And if I click this report, I see that, okay, these are the 19 business applications that don't have this required CI relationship. So very concrete, easy to communicate, and then follow up on the progress. The next part is maybe the most important and maybe most interesting as well. So how do these data providers then do their job? How should they fix the issues? And reporting is nice, but what's the next step? So let's jump to our data quality workspace. This is now designed for the data providers, the IT application owners in this example. And I can, well, maybe I'll use the filtering here as well. So just focusing on the business application domain. Now this 86% is my own score based on the applications where I am the IT application owner. And this is my own trend. Similar reports regarding the data volumes. So for a few weeks here, I've had more records under my belt, and then it has dropped down for some reason. And then at the bottom, I have a list of my records. So these are now the business applications that I'm responsible for. I can immediately see here that this Avid employee engagement system is okay, but this CyberX has some issues. So I can click this CyberX item, and then it tells me I have 8 data quality issues identified. These different issue cards will represent those findings. And let's start by maybe fixing this. So you noticed I actually added the managed by group reference to the service instance or application service. So one of my environments is missing the CI relationship. I can click remediate, and oh, what is that? Metadata missing. Let's ignore that and take another example. So let's instead fix the CI relationships. So this is missing some CI relationships now according to the consumes relationship type. So I will click remediate, and what you get is these very simple remediation components where you just select the missing information. So CyberX, dev, prod, and test. These are my 3 instances. When I click save, then it will create the relationships according to the blueprint. So the person doesn't need to know how the records are connected or what's the correct CI relationship type according to CSDM or whatever. They just need to identify the correct records, and then the DCM will kind of take care of the rest. And in a very similar way, you will fix all kinds of issues. So in this case, my application is missing the architecture type. So instead of like a reference list, I have a choice list, and then I can pick web-based and click save. And that will update the record in the background. If you want to verify what actually happens, you can click on that link and see that, okay, my application now has this web-based architecture type, and the 3 CI relationships are created according to the model. So that's the idea with the workspace, that you just point and click. The audit will tell you what is wrong, and then you will need to kind of fill in the gaps. And with that, we are pretty much at the end of the demo. Do we have any questions? from the audience at this point? Nothing specific, something about the CSDM5. Yes, and maybe I can mention that we are about to publish a new blueprint library that will be available on our main website. That should come out early December, and that blueprint library will include several CSDM5 templates as well. But if there's no further questions or any questions, that's okay. You can reach out to me if you have questions later on, or you can book a private demo by using the QR code or link. And Chris also put the link to the chat. So that's a handy way to maybe have a more detailed discussion, check where you are and what kind of challenges you might have regarding data quality on ServiceNow. That is all, folks. So thank you for joining this session. Bye-bye for now.